September 4th, 2017. This is an update on Irma and the first warnings and watches for the hurricane that have been uploaded to the NOAA website, National Hurricane Center. But first, I want to look at the water vapor loop, and this is just the amount of moisture in the air, or in the atmosphere, in the actual storms. And this one is actually picking up. It lost definition and rotation, it looks like, but it picked up some precipitation, and you can actually see color in it now. But I can go here, and it says Irma is expected to remain within a favorable environment and strengthening during the next several days, in addition to intensifying. The NHC forecast brings the hurricane to Category 4 strength within the next 24 hours and then maintains Irma as a powerful hurricane during the next 5 days. Irma has been moving west-southwestward at 255.11 knots to the south of a strong mid-level ridge over the central Atlantic. The hurricane should turn westward later today or tonight, then west-northwestward Tuesday as it reaches the southwest portion of the ridge. As mentioned in the previous NHC discussion, a large mid-latitude trough is expected to amplify over the eastern United States during the next few days. The global models are unanimous in lifting the trough out of the northeast by late in the week, allowing the Atlantic ridge to build westward on days 3 through 5. The track guidance has again shifted westward and southwestward at days 4 and 5, but the models remain in very good agreement through the forecast period. Irma is expected to affect the northeastern Leeward Islands as a dangerous major hurricane accompanied by life-threatening wind, storm surge, and rainfall impacts, along with rough surf and rip currents. Hurricane warnings have been issued for portions of the Leeward Islands. Preparation should be rushed to completion as tropical storm force winds are expected to first arrive in the hurricane warning area by late Tuesday. Irma could directly affect the British and U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico as a dangerous major hurricane later this week. Hurricane watches have been issued for these areas, and tropical storm force winds could arrive in these areas by early Wednesday. Irma could directly affect Hispaniola, the Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, and Cuba as a dangerous major hurricane later this week. Residents in these areas should monitor the progress of Irma, listen to the advice given by officials. There is an increasing chance of seeing some impacts from Irma in the Florida Peninsula and the Florida Keys later this week and this weekend. In addition, rough surf and dangerous marine conditions will begin to affect the southeastern U.S. coast by later this week. Otherwise, it is still too early to determine what direct impacts Irma might have on the continental United States. And here's the 120-hour forecast. Expecting to reach Cuba within the next 120 hours. As you can see, these outer bands of Hurricane Irma are looking like they're going to reach those islands by the end of today, so they'll be feeling the effects of it. Here's the visible light loop. This is the not water vapor, but the actual visible cloud cover from the storms. And they're saying that the eye of the hurricane has strengthened, but right now is in the middle of an eye wall replacement cycle. You can see at the end of this loop, before it starts over, the eye gets a little blurry in this because it is in the middle of the eye wall replacement cycle, which means after it reorients itself, it will strengthen and most likely be a Category 4. And I'm guessing that it will probably be categorized Category 4 once it hits these islands, the Leeward Islands and the British and U.S. Virgin Islands. you can see here that by Thursday or Friday, the outer bands of the hurricane will be affecting the southern parts of Florida and will be directly over the Bahamas and slightly to the east of Cuba. Here's the 5-day forecast. As you see, 8 a.m. Friday, they're expecting it to be almost over Cuba and affecting southern Florida, but they seem to be behind a day, so I'm going to say by Thursday, 8 a.m., that it will be affecting Florida, southern parts of Florida. And here are the islands, the first islands that are to be affected by the hurricane. And here in a second I'm going to list off these warnings and watches. So you see the southwest direction that it's heading right now. This is 255 degrees at 17 miles per hour. The government of Antigua has issued a hurricane warning for the islands of Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, Montserrat, Saint Kitts, and Nevis. A hurricane watch has been issued for the British Virgin Islands. The Netherlands has issued one for Eustatius, I think it's called. Barbados has issued a tropical storm watch for the Dominica. Summary of watches and warnings in effect are Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, Montserrat, Saint Kitts, and Nevis, Saba, Saint Eustatius. You can go back and pause that. I'm sure if you go to the NOAA website here, you can look them all up. I don't know how to pronounce some of them. There are several under warnings and watches right now. But bringing it back to the water vapor loop, you can see on the top right, this cyclone has been getting stronger and it's pulling in some vapor from the north. Right there you can see, and it's gonna suck it in and probably grow a little bit stronger in intensity, and you can see sucking some precipitation and from Irma from the south also at the same time. So that could be a potentially dangerous storm in the next few weeks also. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can get notified every time I upload a new video.